Hello and welcome to the Rest is Football with Alan Shearer and me, Garen Lineker. No Micah Richards today because he's travelling back from Madrid. I'm sure he enjoyed himself, and who knows what kind of night he had out after the game. We'll find out later in the week.
He always wants days off him, doesn't he? Plumber neck.
I think the only one who doesn't is me, really.
Well, that is very true, actually.
But there we go. You saw Bayern Munich against Celtic, and we'll come to that shortly. I watched both the games last night in terms of not the Champions League games. I watched Real Madrid, Man City, and we had Aston Villa, Liverpool on a laptop as well.
Yeah.
Did you do something similar?
Exactly the same, yeah. Laptop on the on my lap, and then watch the other game on the big TV. Yeah.
Two names: Kylian Mbappé.
Oh goodness me! What a talent! Good. I mean, I saw him. What was it last week? Did the core comms for City Madrid in the home game, and I know he got that fluke, didn't he, with a volley that he scored.
The missed kick, wasn't it?
With the missed kick, yeah.
Micah probably thinks it was a half volley, but he's not here to argue.
Yeah, we don't have to deal with this shit now. So yeah, when you're up close and you're watching these guys, it's one thing watching them on the TV, but when you're there in the ground watching them, and I mean, the technique and the touch and just.
His explosive acceleration from a standing start. Is quite extraordinary. And the other thing I find, which has not surprised me, and I said this would happen, that if he persisted of playing him as a 9, which they've done, he would learn it quickly because he's a super intelligent young man. And you can see now he knows he's getting behind, he comes short, he can turn people. His array of finishing. I mean, the 3 goals last night, I mean, each one of them in their own way was an absolute masterclass in how to finish in a calm manner.
Yeah, and what they do is that the 3 or 4 of them are brilliant at rotation, you know. So if Vinny Jr. wants to come down the middle and then Kylian will go out, and they're all equally as good as wherever they are. It's like, I mean, say what you want about the defending. The defending was blooming awful at times from Man City, and if you can't give anyone the amount of space and what have you that they did, but to give it to him, well, yeah, and the 3 goals were also so very, very different. 3 great finishes, but very different ones.
I love the second one the best. The way
we sat Vardy all down.
He sat him down, and he even did it in his celebration, didn't he? As he ran away, he was going, he went pushing him.
You're going to see that in memes for the next 10 years, aren't you? Where he sort of sat him down like that. It was just brilliant. They're looking very dangerous, Real Madrid, after having 1 or 2 poor results in the league games or whatever you want to call them. They look 2 performances against City, home and away, which will send a huge warning out to the rest of Europe in terms of teams that are left in, that they know it's their competition, they know how well they do and they excel in it, and they have to win it. And
you think they're favourites?
Yeah, I would put them favourites, absolutely, yeah. Definitely.
I suppose given their track record as well, that counts for them, and the belief, and they know how to win that competition. And Mbappe's just getting better and better as the season's progressed after a somewhat slow start, but not slow by normal people's standards, to add. I mean, he is electric. Best player in the world at the moment? Him and Salah, maybe?
Him and Mo Salah, in terms of the goals, the scoring, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't argue with that. I mean, it must be a dream treat for those guys with the amount of chances that they create and the ability that they've got. So Real Madrid are very, very strong, and yeah, they'll definitely be, they're without doubt my favourites to win it, yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again.
Yeah.
I think there are a few teams that can compete with them. They've got slight issues in recent weeks defensively, but Rudiger came back, and I think he's important for them because he's kind of a leader at the back. But as for Manchester City, Alan, I mean, yes, the rest of Europe will look at that result, but also the rest of Europe will know that City have been struggling. They can see that from the league form. And I felt a little bit for them last night. Not only did they concede an appalling first goal, I mean, terrific finish, as you said, but unusual mistake from Diaz, who had a bad night. But they then lost John Stones as well. Haaland's obviously, wasn't fit to play. So their kind of injury list goes on. Just as you thought it was starting to show signs of getting better, it goes backward again.
Yeah, but I understand that, and that's, but a lot of the time we've been saying it's a Rodri problem. Yeah, last night, that first ball over the top, Rodri, even if he's in that team's not stopping that. I mean, I know they spent, I don't know, 170, 180 million, whatever it was, on 3 or 4 players in the January window, and I think 3 of them were playing last night, actually. Yeah, it's not just a Rodri problem. It seems to me as if there's a lot of players that at the same time are coming to the end, and certainly they haven't got the legs anywhere near the legs that they used to have last year or the year before, and it just seems to happen at the same time for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of the players.
Yeah, there's probably De Bruyne, who wasn't obviously on the pitch last night, but possibly Bernardo Silva, most certainly Gundogan, 34 years of age.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker left, maybe. Obviously, but the experienced players, I think there's an element of truth in that. And they've been so good for so many years. I mean, it's horrible, isn't it, as a footballer, when you just start to lose a little bit of that acceleration or the pace or the strength to hold people off. And even if it's only a small drop-off, at that level, it's really significant. And,
correct.
And it's sometimes you're perhaps the last person to recognise it, because you're in denial, aren't you, in a way, because you just want it to carry on your career. You want it to carry on. I remember, I was by this stage, I can remember even in the last season of English football that, I was struggling with my foot, and that perhaps disguised it a little bit. But then I went to Japan and I got injured. And when I came back and a kind of lumbering centre half ran past me, I thought, curtains.
Yeah.
Curtains.
No,
and
don't forget, they've had to be at it for, God, how many years? I mean, they've won trophy after trophy after trophy. That takes its toll as well, for having to go in every single day, and the way Pep demands the way you are. That's bloody hard work as well. So there's a few of them that have been doing that for a while. So it's not nice, but it happens to everyone, I'm afraid.
It's probably also quite, not just in terms of confidence, but quite difficult to cope or handle when you're a player that's been in every title race, winning most of them. You've won the Champions League, and then all of a sudden you're struggling, and particularly perhaps in the league, it's not as exciting if you're not at the top. It's just human instinct, it's just natural, isn't it, for players to react that way, I suppose. But it will be interesting to see if he can get them back on track, not necessarily this season. All they've got, realistically, they can only win the FA Cup now.
FA Cup, and obviously they want to get into Champions League football, which it'll be a huge thing for them. I think they'll have enough for that, because we're probably going to have 5 in England, 5 teams qualify. So I would think they would still have enough to finish in the top 5.
They should do.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
We talked, didn't we, at the weekend about Haaland's injury and the way it was, you've suffered a serious injury that looked probably not too much at the time. I'm hoping, as we said at the time, we're hoping we're wrong, but the fact that he didn't appear at any stage last night, didn't even warm up, I believe.
No, he didn't. I mean, he named him on the bench for whatever reason, but as far as I'm aware, I was told that he didn't even warm up and get out onto the pitch. So that's not a good sign. So I'm hoping that it's nothing too serious at all, and it's just a week or a 10-day thing, and he'll be back out playing pretty soon. But it certainly didn't look good, did it? No,
it was one of those, and then he carried on, and I mean, you know what that feeling is like inside your knee when it's...
Yep. When I did my cruciate ligament,
let's hope it's not the first time. But...
Let's absolutely hope. And I did my cruciate ligament for the first time. I actually got up and carried on for another 20 minutes or so, and it all right because of the adrenaline and everything else. It was weird, and I really, really hope that it's not that, and for his sake and for Man City's sake. But it certainly didn't look good. But him being there and being not warming up at all last evening was not a good sign. So I hope he's all right for this weekend.
Yeah, because it's a big one.
Big one, yeah.
Liverpool.
Absolutely.
At the Etihad.
Yeah, huge game.
Yeah.
For both teams, actually.
Yeah, Real Madrid go through. The draw, if you're listening to this early on Friday, is at 11 a.m. If you're listening to this in the afternoon on your way home, you'll know it already. But Real Madrid will play either Bayer Leverkusen or Atletico Madrid, which that will be tough. Even for Real Madrid.
Yeah, that'll be tough. Two very good sides. I saw Leverkusen at Anfield when they played Liverpool. I saw Leverkusen at the last weekend when they played Bayern Munich. And whoever they play, they'll give them a right good game because they're a good side.
Yeah. There's some interesting results last night, wasn't there? PSG beat Brest 7-0 at the Parc des Princes and finished the tie 10-0 on aggregate. All 7 of the goals were scored by different players as well. And surprisingly, Dembele wasn't actually one of them. Some incredible team goals in there as well, if you can catch the highlights of that game. I think PSG under Luis Enrique might just be a dark horse in this tournament. I mean, it sounds mad to say that because in recent years they've had such big stars, but I say it because obviously they've not got Messi anymore. They've not got Neymar anymore. They've not got Mbappé anymore. And you'd think that would make a massive difference. But what they've got is a sort of team that works together, and he's got them knitted, and it will, I think there'll be a threat in this competition, PSG.
I agree. Over 2 legs, I think it'll give anyone a really good game. I agree with you. They're more of a team now than they have been. Whether they're good enough this season or not to go and win it, I'm not sure. But they'll be a real test for anyone left in the competition.
Well, they play next, either Barcelona or Liverpool. So
Amazing,
it's going to be tough game. There's going to be some big games in the round of 16.
So Liverpool's prize of finishing top of the group could be drawing PSG.
Could be, yeah.
Thanks very much.
And then another Italian giant crashed out of the Champions League. Juventus ex-Spurs player Ivan Perisic scored an incredible opener after a great pass from Noah Lang. Juve equalised, but PSV went 2-1 up to tie the game on aggregate, and Ryan Flamengo put PSV ahead in extra time, and they held on to go through. And PSV will play either Inter or Arsenal.
My Italian friend, who I played golf with this morning, that's why he came with a face like thunder this morning. He was effing and jeffing and going mad about Juve and all that, Bafangula and Juventus and all this. He watched the game last night and said, his words, not mine, he said they were shit.
Was his golf better than his team?
His golf was a lot better than his team, yeah.
How was yours?
It was all right, yeah. 7 over I shot, so I was all right. I was quite happy with that.
More than respectable.
Yeah,
more than respectable.
Yeah.
The other game was Borussia Dortmund against Sporting Lisbon. Dortmund cruised through, didn't they?
Yeah.
3-0 on aggregate. So they'll go through, and they will play, Dortmund, either Lille or Aston Villa.
Interesting, yeah.
So I think Aston Villa's draw doesn't look too bad. There's so many obviously big guns in the competition. They've got half a chance, perhaps whoever they play, to get through to the quarterfinals. Let's turn our attention to Tuesday's fixtures in the Champions League. You were working for Amazon you're in Munich, yeah?
Yeah, I went to the Munich game.
Oh, I
Munich,
felt
Celtic.
for Celtic. I felt for them so.
God, me
Brendan
too.
and Casper.
It was so cruel because I must admit, before the game,
No.
I didn't see them putting up. I saw them making it difficult at times, but I didn't see them playing as well as they did. But I tell you what, they deserved. If they had a finisher up top, they would be in the round of 16 now. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they had 3 or 4 unbelievable chances in the first 20 minutes. They were knocking it around. Every player was comfortable. Brendan got his tactics spot on. It was a really, really impressive performance from Celtic. Their movement, everything about them looked really good, and to go out in the way they did. Oh God, I could feel the
94th minute.
I know, yeah.
I felt for Casper as well because he made such a tremendous save. It's actually a chance for me to shout out, if you've not heard it yet, we interviewed Peter Schmeichel and it went out in our Wednesday episode. And I mean, it was so much more than I expected. His stories of his upbringing and 1 or 2 other things, and particularly obviously his career was very special, and his relationship with Casper really comes through. So I'd encourage you to listen to that if you've not yet done so. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's available on our feed. And there was a lovely shot after the game. I don't know whether you saw it with Peter and Casper in the tunnel.
The tunnel, yeah.
And, Pete, you could see him going, oh, God, man, he kissed him on the head. It was really beautiful.
No, I did see that, yeah. And I saw Peter on the at the ground. Yeah, it was brilliant to brilliant to be at the ground at such a magnificent stadium, great atmosphere. Celtic were really, really unlucky, and it was really cruel. Wasn't impressed with Bayern Munich at all. I mean, I said maybe 5 minutes in that I wasn't sure about them this year. That certainly in midfield and forward positions, I think they can be a threat. But I think defensively they'll probably get found out the further they go in the competition. And Harry Kane came off with an injury as well, didn't he? He came off at half-time.
Didn't look much, did it? A little calf strain or something, they said?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what it was. I wasn't sure whether it was the effects of taking the knock on the head at the weekend or whatever it was. I wasn't. It's
been confirmed as
sure.
A calf strain, right? Apparently. So
okay. Hopefully. Yeah, he had one opportunity where it was rolled back to him. Though he hit the bar late on in the first half, but other than that, he didn't really have a lot to do in that first half. But not impressed with Bayern Munich at all.
I imagine you were there, so you can feel these things. They must have got a little bit edgy, the Bayern fans, because they would have expected to stroll through.
No, absolutely. I mean, the atmosphere beforehand and 5 minutes before the game and then 5 minutes into the game was amazing. But because of the job Celtic did on Bayern Munich, they actually quietened the crowd down. It was only the end behind one goal that kept on going, but the rest of the crowd was pretty quiet because of the job that Celtic did on them. And because, I mean, they didn't have a lot of possession, but when they did have possession, they used it really well. Their movement was great, and obviously the chances they created. Then they got the goal in the second half. The least they deserved was to go in for another 30 minutes extra time and see what they could do then. But Bayern were very, very edgy, and it was a poor performance of them. Celtic made them look bang average.
The final's at the Allianz, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's going to be difficult for them to get through because they'll either play Leverkusen or Atletico Madrid.
Tough. So
that'll be tough. I mean, Leverkusen. We watched the game, Leverkusen Bayern Munich last weekend. It ended goalless, but I mean, Leverkusen bossed that game. They should have won comfortably. They missed their chances. Remember Florian Wirtz in the last minute? We were
right
watching
at the end.
together, yeah.
Bayern Munich in that game didn't have one shot on target, and that for them, if they were to get Leverkusen, even Atletico, I think that's a really, really tough game for them because I wasn't impressed with the Bayern Munich at all.
No, but Celtic can hold their heads proud, and we're not.
Yeah. I think even the way Brendan spoke after the game, that he feels as if they've gone up a level now and that they can certainly compete. And the way the format is, they can definitely compete because you would think anyone going to Celtic is in for a really tough game. And that sort of suits them in the league phase to get them this far. So I think they've found the feet in the way the format is, and I think they're only going to get better as the years go by.
Absolutely agree. Just rounding things up elsewhere. Benfica Monaco was, I mean, obviously you only saw that game because you couldn't have seen the others, but I was flicking around a little bit. Benfica Monaco was fairly nuts. Ended 3-3, but eventually they went through. And then there was Milan. Milan are really struggling at the moment.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker's there, of course, at present, but they're gone. Feyenoord will play either Inter or Arsenal. If it sounds like I'm repeating these same teams against other teams, there are the couple of options. That's why. Atalanta was the surprise one for me. Brugge, or Bruges, as we like to call it, they battered them. I didn't see that coming.
It wasn't there a big row as well with was it Ademola Lookman in terms of the penalty? Yeah, because his manager really criticised him after the game, didn't he? Then he put a statement out the following day, saying he felt he'd been disrespected and what have you. Yeah, that's a really strange thing, wasn't it? That
it's all kicking off. And just to let you know how the draw completely works, having read out a few of the options, this is it. So it makes it a bit more clear for you. I'm sure you understand it anyway. But PSG or Benfica will play that one of Barcelona and Liverpool. Club Bruges or Borussia Dortmund will play either one of Lille or Aston Villa. Real Madrid or Bayern Munich will play either one of Bayer Leverkusen or Atletico Madrid. PSV or Feyenoord will play either one of Inter or Arsenal. And the draw, I remind you again, is at 11 a.m. If you listen to this early, tune in because the Could be some exciting games, although they do drag these draw programs out sometimes, don't they?
Well, I thought the draw was all done, wasn't it, before? And then they changed the format of it late on during the competition, didn't they?
They've fiddled, Alan, they've fiddled. Yes, but let's take a breather now, and when we come back, we'll talk about that cracking game between Aston Villa and Liverpool. Welcome back to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker. Micah Richards is travelling back from Madrid as we speak. What a game that was at Villa Park. I thought Villa played really, really well, caused Liverpool a lot of problems, but at times Liverpool were also excellent, certainly going forward. Both teams looked a bit vulnerable defensively at times, but it was a great watch. Brilliant
game, wasn't it? It had a bit of everything, didn't it? End to end. Liverpool scoring, Villa coming back with their couple of goals. I really enjoyed watching it. Actually, I mean, some of the chances that were missed, particularly from a Liverpool point of view.
Nunez, I felt for him a bit, to be honest. I mean,
did you?
Yeah, I mean, that is. I mean, why did he try and hit it so hard?
Unfortunately for him, he's going to be seeing that, or we're going to be seeing it. He might not, but on those bloopers that you get every year, he's going to be seeing that, unfortunately, because it was an absolute sitter he missed.
Saw Slot say after the game, didn't he? Said, "There's one person in the dressing room who feels quite down. You know who it is."
Yeah, you understand that. I mean, he's just not a good finisher, is he?
No.
Do you know what? There'll be days like, you remember he came on against Newcastle, was it, I don't know, last year or the year before, and he scored 2 absolute great finishes. They were unbelievable finishes. Yeah, you see him miss the number of chances that he does, unfortunately for him and for Liverpool, but he's never going to be a natural finisher. He's erratic. Yeah, very erratic. Yeah, very erratic. He never looks composed when he's about to have his shot, or confident, or and he always looks off balance. I suppose when your confidence is shot, then you are off balance, I guess. But what an absolute sitter, unfortunately.
Yeah, I tell you, who's not erratic. Mo Salah. I mean, he's extraordinary. He's the first player to get 15 plus goals and 15 plus assists in a single Premier League season since Eden Hazard in 2018-19. Only 3 other players have achieved this feat, Alan. I'm going to give you a little quiz thing here. 3 of them, and no, you're not one of them. Of course, you've never got 15
in the
assists.
Premier League, you mean?
In the Premier League, yeah.
Okay. One was Eden Hazard. 15 goals, 15 assists.
It's quite tough. You get one. You should definitely get one.
Is Harry Kane one?
No.
No, you've done me. Go on.
Really, come on. I'm going to name 2 of them that are difficult. Not that difficult. Eric Cantona is one.
Matt Letizia one.
Yes. Well done, Al. You just got in there. Matt Letizia was one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And there's one more. It's actually blindingly obvious when you think about it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Thierry Henry.
It's not a surprise. Yeah, you're right. He was a great.
Yeah, definitely. The record is set actually by Thierry when he scored 24 goals and got 20 assists for Arsenal, and that was in 2002, 2003. Can Salah beat that? I suppose he's up there with the goals already. He just needs, if he gets 6 more assists, he'll beat him.
If I had known all those years ago that assists were going to be a thing, I'd have passed it more.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing the other day. Nobody ever in fact, no one ever used the word assist, did they?
Assist? I mean,
do you know what you go? Yeah. You go home, wouldn't you, from when you were a kid, or even when you were playing football, and someone would say, how'd you get on? Oh, we won 2-1. Did you get... Oh, yeah, I got 1 and I made 1. That's what you used to say, wasn't it? I got a goal and I made 1.
Maybe I was coached wrong, because I was never taught to make them. I was always just taught to go for goals. So there you go.
I just shut my ears, which is not easy, as Al, before you start. There's more impressive statistics for Mo. He's also now scored and assisted in 10 different league games this season. The last player to do that in the top 5 leagues was Lionel Messi 10 years ago, where he did it on 11 occasions, and we're still in February. He is having the most remarkable season. If you're talking, it's. I know we get a bit guilty of this, talking about Ballon d'Ors, etc. But if Liverpool went on to win the league, or certainly the Premier League as well. And he's never really, bizarrely, had a look in, has he, in terms of the Ballon d'Or?
I know,
but
it's
I think
crazy, isn't
he
it?
could do. I think obviously the main competitors probably be Mbappé after what he did last night, and his form this particular calendar year has been excellent. And obviously Vinicius Junior again.
I guess if Real Madrid go on and win this competition and he keeps shining, or Liverpool go on and win this competition and Mo Salah keeps shining, then that's going to play a huge part in it. And he still hasn't signed his contract.
I've got a feeling he will.
Me too.
It's just too quiet otherwise.
Yeah.
It's too quiet. Otherwise, I would think there'd be speculation and this and that. Doesn't. I don't know. I'd be shocked if he doesn't go. Especially the way he jokes about things as well. You don't do that if you're gonna bugger off. But who knows? I might be wrong. But I sense.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think it's I'd be absolutely amazed if Liverpool don't sign him up for another couple of years. Yeah, I'm with you.
I thought Villa were really good, Alan.
They've got some really good options up top, haven't they?
I was thinking that. When they brought the substitutes on, I thought, Christ, they've got some strength in depth now. I know they brought in Rashford and Asensio. And
Marlon.
And Marlon as well. And, they're looking like a strong squad now that can compete, not just in the Premier League, but they've also got the Champions League as well on two fronts. And I think that was a concern for all of us, perhaps. Maybe, for Villa fans particularly, I'd imagine at the start of the season, whether you can cope on all those fronts. But they've built up a good squad there. I
think they had a really good January window. I think what they did with Duran in terms of selling him and then bringing in, I know they got in a couple on loan, whether they can keep hold of them at the end of the season. But Marlon was signed. So I think their work in the window was really good and really positive for them. So that should set them up nicely for the remainder of the season. They've got some options there now. When last 20 minutes, half an hour, they've got players that whoever's not playing, that they can change it by bringing someone on and making a difference.
Yeah, they're two real near misses towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end.
Just blazed it over, but I thought he was tremendous again. When he runs with the ball, he's so good. And Marlon as well, didn't he? Just wide of the post.
Wide,
they could have nicked it.
Yeah, I think it was probably a fair result in the end. I mean, both fans might argue differently because of the chances that they missed, and we've talked about the Nunez one. But Villa had a couple towards the end, but I thought it was probably a fair result and a good night in the end for Arsenal, wasn't it? The way, because Liverpool didn't pick up all the points. So
it keeps them in it. Just 8 points clear. Arsenal got a game in hand, so could conceivably go down to 5 points. It keeps it open, and to be honest, for the neutral, it keeps it interesting, doesn't it? But
agreed.
I'd still be very surprised if it's not Liverpool's title at the end of the season. But they have had 2 draws in the last 3 games, but they're tough away games. There was a day gone, that's a good point. We went to Goodison, our local rivals, and got a point. We went to Villa, who are flying. They're in the last 16 of the Champions League. It's a decent result, but now it's like, they've dropped 2 points. Points. All gets a bit of a panic.
And they've got City next, isn't it, away? So, but I would think with Liverpool's forwards and the way Man City are defensively, I would fancy Liverpool to get a couple of goals at the weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised as well.
Yeah,
well, let's leave it there. That's it for the rest of his football. We'll be back on Monday reviewing the weekend's fixtures in the Premier League. A big one, as we've mentioned, at the Etihad between City and Liverpool to look forward to. We'll see you then. Are you doing Match of the Day at the weekend, Alan?
Doing Match of the Day on Saturday, yeah.
Oh,
so
I look forward to seeing you then.
Look forward to seeing you, yes, yeah. Who else we got in, do you know?
I don't know, actually.
Don't know.
I always find out on a Friday normally who else is in, but I don't think it's Big Meeks, otherwise he'd have told us.
He might be doing Man City, Liverpool, hadn't he?
Yes, he will be for sure, yeah. He will be. So, I don't know.
Oh, well.
It's always exciting to find out.
At least we got another Saturday away from him.
That's a bit harsh. What a way to finish. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great weekend.